Ah, the map, the final challenge. This is the one that the map is present in almost every brochure, and it's probably the toughest thing to describe for many reasons, but its complexity, its lack of particular interpretive focus, um, the many details throughout the image. There's just so many things with a map, and we spent a lot of time thinking about the map. So, if you're ready to begin Descriptathon for Challenge 5, the map, you're going to open your project, Descriptathon 4. You're going to go to the front stage and find your name on the Challenge 5 list and open it up, and it should look something like this with Wild Yosemite as your map. Again, if you want to see this map closer, which you probably will, you can simply click on the map and it'll open up, and then you can magnify it as much as you'd like or shrink it. You can also download this image from the project assets page on the backstage. Project Assets has a copy, so if you really want to get into the details and look at it, you're welcome to do that as well. So in our research with the map, we found by looking at dozens of maps on National Park Service brochures, we found that maps often have many different purposes. We've lumped these into 4 different categories of purpose. There's a wayfinding as a navigational aid to some point of interest. There's some sort of cognitive mapping happening where you get basic, practical, logistical storytelling, building blocks through this imagery, and it helps you make sense of a place and why it's special and what its highlights are and what its boundaries. So you have wayfinding, how do you get from here to there? You have cognitive mapping. Third category is a cultural history. So there's maps that show how things used to look and the cultural history of those maps. And then the fourth category is natural history understanding. So as a way to understand, say, how water flows or ecosystems overlap or topography. Now, when we say these are the 4 purposes of a map, we don't mean they're discrete and concrete and no gray area in between. But what we've found is these kind of help us figure out what to do with a map. Like, why do we have this map? Are you going to pick it up and walk around the park? Are you going to drive around the park? Are you going to stand in a particular place and visualize your park differently based on this map? Or what are you going to do with it? So the first basic step is to figure out why does this map exist and what's its rhetorical purpose. From there, you can often kind of figure out, I guess, what other options you should consider and how you should consider them. But the first thing to get into a map is you imagine how would you use a map, or most people use a map, and then for the most part they start out with just a glancing view, like, oh, here's a map and what does it show me? And that's the way you can think of the short description that you want to provide first, a short description of the map, what it shows, what its boundaries are, what its main purpose is. In this case, we actually have an image with one map here, a second map here, and a third map here. And these maps somewhat function differently in terms of what they're built for. Actually, looks like this is a little, I can't tell if that's another map inside there or not. I'll have to look closer at that. But anyway, so you want to decide, okay, so what's an overview of this map? What is this map going to show me? And then work your way down the map in progressive order from the most important thing the map shows to the least important thing. So what are the big highlights of Yosemite? Where do you want people to know relationally what's happening on this map? And then when you get down to the nitty gritty of, what's this particular creek called, what's this uh, parking lot called, or whatever it is. You can decide how much of that you want to include and what the purpose of that, including that, is. If you give somebody a giant list, they're probably not going to use it. But if you say there are bathrooms near 5 different parking lots, the parking lots are parking lot A located near, highlight B, and you can build it into some kind of story that's useful. Just raw information is not quite as useful. So after creating the short description, we recommend creating a longer description that includes all the elements on the map. And you can interpret that advice in different ways, but basically you want to make sure the person listening to this audio description has an equivalent experience as someone who can look at this map and try to make that a matching experience. Okay, I hope that helps. There's a lot to maps. We won't have a tremendous amount of time to work on the map, probably just enough to do a short description. But we do want to introduce you to the map challenge and how you can approach it.